So all right, here goes the serious stuff, and even if I don't get all the way through, I'm gonna do the mile. Do they call them chairman
Just a
mile?
second. Oh, sure. That way. Is it the case that components that can easily be converted into something constitute that thing before they are converted as a matter of ordinary usage?
I think that as a matter of ordinary usage, we're not suggesting that any statutory reference to one thing includes separate and distinct things that can be readily converted. So shifting to our arguments under framer receiver, subparagraph
No,
B.
I want to stick with the definition of weapon for just a second.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to show you. Here's a blank.
So shifting to our that way.
Is it?
I mean, see, that's the thing, right? And, they tried to make it like we can't talk about. Remember, they tried to, oh, don't worry about politics. And it's like, no, bitch, you're crazy. These are our rights. And really, y'all are trying to little boy us. Seriously, what I call little boy, they trying to, they're not doing it just to, belittle you, emasculate you. All of this, you can't have a gun. Yeah, you must have done. That's what they're trying to do. It has nothing to do with protecting nobody. They just want to, seriously, all that the communism. You thought you was this and that. Okay, so now you can't. Oh, why you can't do this? Yo, get you some grown man. Remember that. You grown man and shit. A grown man, this and that. The lame shit. They tried to make the lame puffy shit.
The case that components that can easily be converted into something constitute that thing before they are converted as a matter of ordinary usage?
I think that as a matter of ordinary usage, we're not suggesting that any statutory reference to one thing includes separate and distinct things that can be readily converted. So shifting to our arguments under framer receiver, subparagraph
No,
B.
I want to stick with the definition of weapon for just a second.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to show you. Here's a blank pad, and here's a pen. All right. Is this a grocery list?
I don't think that that's a grocery list, but the reason for that is because there are a lot of things you could use those products for to create something other than a grocery list.
All right,
and so it's not like
if
they're...
I show you, I put out on a counter some eggs, some chopped up ham, some chopped up pepper and onions. Is that a Western omelet?
No, because again, those items have well-known other uses to become something other than an omelet. The key difference here is that these weapon parts kits are designed and intended to be used as instruments of combat, and they have no other conceivable use. And I think the further evidence comes from the fact that respondents themselves agree that a disassembled gun qualifies as a weapon. So this is on page 37
Okay, so
of the
that's
handbook.
helpful. So your definition is a group of components that...
Also, like everybody keeps saying, stop arguing with them. There's no need for the ATF. No, first of all, all these unsolved murders, a lot of them might not be happening because there's a well-armed society. Not only that, if you get caught, you're going away for life. That takes away, the brazen. Even in the heat of the moment when you arguing, and even if you got a gun on you, both sides got guns. Not only that, even if you got a gun and nobody else has one, you might even you like, well, no, the heat, no, yes, you will. Trust me, I know. You gonna think like, fuck that, or somebody might be able to talk you out of it. So, because if it ain't nothing, the only thing stopping somebody nowadays in some of these cities is nothing. They see, and it ain't that they ain't watching the news. They know from the street. They homeboy just got released a day after killing somebody. And that's, they see it. Word hit the street. They don't have to watch the news or YouTube. Word on the street. Shit, nigga on the south side just shot somebody. They let him go the next day. And you might got niggas like, shit, I know I'm finna smoke me somebody. You know what I'm saying? Shit, yeah, they don't even know who. There ain't no fear. I'm just telling you from the other point of view, not the victim. Yeah, the next, shit, word, yeah, fuck that. I'm finna go, And this will say you gotta stop arguing. They, the bottom line, the same people she's arguing for all this and that, they want this little weird ass, it's not even perfect society. They want some weird ass society, it's just everybody's just weird, the adults, just, this fake ass, like the movies, everything is put in cubes and nice and neat and da da da. It is fucking weird. Now, if you're a neat person, that's all good. If you're neat, more than likely your friends aren't, but they know you're neat and they gonna respect that because you they homeboy. But everybody ain't finna be all nice and neat.
Or can readily be converted into something and have no other use. They must have no other use in order to constitute that thing.
In
that situation, they already constitute that thing.
I think that you can recognize that something is a weapon even if it's non-functional, if it is clear from objective evidence.
No, I think that certainly is true from the face of the statute because it's sufficient if it's capable of being converted into something that can expel a projectile. All right, thank you.
General Prelogar, I just want to follow up on Justice Alito's question about the omelet. Would your answer change if you ordered it from HelloFresh and you got a kit and it was like turkey chili, but all of the ingredients are in the kit?
Yes, and I think that presses on the more apt analogy here, which is that we are not suggesting that scattered components that might have some entirely separate and distinct function could be aggregated and called a weapon in the absence of this kind of evidence that is their intended purpose and function. But if you bought, from Trader Joe's some omelet making kit that had all of the ingredients to make the omelet and maybe included whatever you would need to start the fire in order to cook the omelet and had all of that objective indication that that's what's being marketed and sold, we would recognize that for what it is. And it doesn't stretch plain English to say, I bought omelets at the store if you bought all of the ingredients that were intended and designed to make them, especially under statutory language that refers to something like breakfast foods or things that can be readily converted to make breakfast.
I see. Exactly. We had the legal right. This should not be an argument. They should not. That's what I keep saying. Y'all need. Everybody's like, I don't know. They think we don't understand. It's like, no, this should not be an argument. If you're so worried about guns and criminals, lock the motherfucking. Trust me, that I'm not gonna argue with motherfuckers. Like, seriously. So go shoot somebody and show me that you don't care that you're gonna go to prison for the rest of your life. You don't care. It's not a deterrent that you're going to be in some nasty ass prison. It's not it's just a fucking deterrent. I don't care how tough you are. You don't want to go, nothing but men, niggas. Why did they keep, they thought they was going to get away. And I ain't talking about break the law to try to arrest people and violate people's rights. And yeah, the argument is, the bottom line, I don't care. What she's trying to say is it can become a weapon and can't be nothing. The bottom line is no, though. We're not going to play that slippery slope. It's not a weapon. It's no different, more weapon than this. And this is way much more than a weapon and gun parts. This came off the Blazer. It's like I can't sell it. I don't know. It's pretty. It's heavy. And that's a more dangerous weapon than the parts to a gun that you can assemble. You know, it's like the bottom line is why y'all arguing about can you label them the parts it sells as a weapon? It's like, and what they're saying is you just can't. She's trying to get the parts labeled as a weapon, and it's not. She's trying to play games. Well, it can be assembled, and it is like, okay, we see what she's trying to say. It has no other use, you know, the receiver, the barrel, whatever. It has no, or whatever, you know, whatever it's called. It has no other use. It's like, no, the bottom line is you can't label it as a weapon. I mean, you could throw it at somebody and they'll probably be irritated. Ow, that hurt. But you know, you can't. You know, you can assemble it, but bottom line, no, you're playing word games, and that's the end of it. It's like I think they're not gonna let it go. I mean, you know, let her, you know, and it's like, no, it's not the bottom line. It's not a weapon. It's no different than you call a tire a whole car. A tire has no, well, you're like, well, a tire can turn into a car swing. Okay, a brake pad or a brake disc is not a car. It has no other part, you know, or whatever, or other parts of the car that has no other use. Yeah, you can use a car seat and put it on your front porch and sit on the car seat. So technically, a car seat has no other use for sane people but to sit in the car. But you know, some people, I didn't sat on them. I didn't sat on people's porch with a car seat as a front porch. You know, I didn't do. But that doesn't, you're not sitting inside of a car. You're sitting in the car seat. Like he said, you know, and she's trying to say no, but it has no other use. Your car seat has no other use. Seriously, you could put it on your front porch and look country as hell, but it is comfortable. It's, you know, especially back in the day in the 80s, them 80s car seats, you know, like out of, you know, the bench seats, you know, the long car seats, probably from a 70s car. It's all plush. More than likely though, it's soaking wet because, you know, if unless it's a covered porch, but more than likely it's a porch. It got an overhang, but it's not covered. So when it's raining hard, it rains on that shit. But you know, it is comfortable, but it's a fucking car seat, and it's not a car. So yeah, she's trying to say that can't get used in any other thing, you know, but a weapon. And it's like, okay, you know, you can't use car parts in any other thing but a car. Where you gonna put a tail light? Tail light, but a tail light by itself is not a fucking car.
Is this a grocery list?
I don't think that that's a designed and intended to be used as instruments of combat, and they have no other conceivable use. And I think the further evidence comes from the fact that respondents themselves agree that a disassembled gun qualifies as a weapon. So this is on page 37
Okay, so
of the
that's
Anderson
helpful. So
report.
you're definitely.
You know, a disassembled gun is parts. It's not a weapon. It's parts. A disassembled car is car parts. It's parts. It's not a car. You can't drive it. You can't drive, you know, a starter. You can't drive it. You can't use it on nothing else. You know, like I said, a tire, you can make a tire swing, you know, for kids or whatever. But a rim, technically, okay, a rim, I didn't see rims, you know, even welded and made into a table or something or whatever. You could do some country ass shit like that. But yeah, what else you gonna do with rims? They're just gonna be sitting in your garage. They don't your rims, having a rim don't mean you have a car. I got a rim, you know, yeah, the girl, yeah, you got a car? Yeah, I got a car. You know, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, girl might get dropped off, but you gonna bring her back, right? This her first time, you know, whatever. I ain't even talking about modern day. You know, oh, he could be weird. No, whatever. You know, back in the day, yeah, whatever. And you do. That's why. See, that's why what I'm saying. To me, is real life. You know, yeah, I get dropped off, and she dropped you there. And real life, you know, we got a car. We bring her back home. It's like, why ain't you just go, we doing something, whatever it is. She want to come over. Y'all been talking. And everything goes great, you drop off. But in her mind, if she gets dropped off, she get to your house, she go out to the car, to the garage to go to, all you got is a piece of a car. I'm just, she's like, that's a stretch. I don't know. She's saying parts of a gun, making a gun, a weapon. It's not a weapon.
Is a group of components that can readily be converted into something and have no other use. They must have no other use.
You make it even worse, you got a part of a plane, it fell, or you work at an airport, whatever, that you don't have a whole plane.
Use in order to constitute that thing.
In
that situation, they already constitute that thing.
I think that you can recognize that something is a weapon even if it's non-functional, if it is clear from objective evidence.
No, I think that certainly is true from the face of the statute, because it has to be.
It got to be together. A car is a car even if it's non-functional. It need gas. It's still a car. But it's still a car. It's not just car parts. See, they're trying to make it so having parts is illegal and you go to federal prison for having, parts to build a gun. And he's saying no. And he's right. No. Nope. Like I said, Bob, that's why I keep saying stop arguing with them. And then on top of that, the bottom line is all these people dying or getting killed with illegal guns, guns that, been stolen, whatever, all of that shit. And it's not the gun. It's because they know they're not going to go to prison or get caught. That's why. All this arguing is irrelevant. But like I said, you don't have a goddamn car just because you got the parts. And they're trying to say, whatever, they start confiscating and arresting people for even having the parts to build a gun.
It's sufficient if it's capable of being converted into something that can expel a projectile. All right, thank you.
General Prelogar, I just want to follow up on Justice Alito's question about the omelet. Would your answer change if you ordered it from HelloFresh and you got a kit and it was like turkey chili, but all of the ingredients are in the kit?
Yes, and I think that presses on the more apt analogy here, which is that we are not suggesting that scattered components that might have some entirely separate and distinct function could be aggregated and called a weapon in the absence of this kind of evidence that is their intended purpose and function. But if you bought, from Trader Joe's some omelet making kit that had all of the ingredients to make the omelet and maybe included whatever you would need to start the fire in order to cook the omelet and had all of that objective indication that that's what's being marketed and sold, we would recognize that for what it is. And it doesn't stretch plain English to say, I bought omelets at the store if you bought all of the ingredients.
So she's saying, okay, now you bought, that's a kit car. She's trying to say, well, that's a car. It's called a kit car though, right? It's a kit car. All the parts, you assemble it. Still not a car though, but it's a kit car. You gotta put it together. You gotta know how to put it together. And da. So, but the bottom line is though, okay, you can buy a kit car piece by piece because you might not have the money. So now you're just buying parts. Now I don't know, but I do know because what it seems like I know what she's trying to do. That means he's still right. So if you buy all the parts separately, that's the end of the story. She's saying, you can't buy a whole kit gun with the instructions and everything else. And he said, but you can buy every single piece and instructions somewhere else. It's just like for you. If it's just one piece you need, or not just need, but you just bought a barrel, that's it. It's a barrel, it's not a weapon. You're talking about marketed as, and basically is, you know, like some shit that, like, as a kid, you know, oh, you put it together yourself. So if someone buys or builds the parts, the machines it, and da 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 da, it's not a weapon. That's another thing. You got people who can machine the parts. So if they can machine it, it's like, well, nope. Basically, I think that's as far as it can go. No, she can't argue. You would have to stretch. Long as you don't label it as a kid, yeah, she shot herself in the foot. Metaphor, pun intended. She shot herself in the foot. Just don't put it, you know, just don't label it a kid. Or just leave it the fuck alone. That's all it is. You know, get rid of all ATF, leave it the fuck alone, because you're all the way, either way, you're violating our rights, and that's the end of it. There's no way around it. We don't, you know, oh, well, what about all of the, look, those people, y'all look, all of the murders, and first of all, majority of them in black cities, black on black crime, all these high murder rates has nothing to do with, you know, maybe some of the young niggas was learning how to make guns, but the bottom line is because you're not locking them up. I was a young nigga. If they was getting locked up for decades, if they saw their friends go away at 12, 13 years old, and that nigga got goddamn 30 years or life sentence, trust me, they'll sit down. Y'all so busy trying to, that's the end of it. That's the whole argument. But all right, so I keep trying to get back to the mouth video, so now I got to start a whole nother one.